We're going to start today with a little bit of a preview looking ahead to the 2023 MLB draft. Not a ton of anticipation for this draft, mostly because the Orioles are very good. In the last few years, we haven't been able to focus on the big league team as much. We have had to turn the focus to the minor leagues looking ahead to the draft. The Orioles have also had top 5 picks since 2019. That's not the case this year. They have number 17. Not as much buzz, not as much excitement, but the Orioles are still very good at drafting prospects. We should still be excited for number 17.
I'm actually pumped because this is the first time we're going to get to watch Mike Elias work in the middle of the draft.
Yeah.
And really see what he can do with a pick that, you don't have necessarily a guy who's a total blue chip. So I'm really excited for this draft and this pick especially. Even though, like you said, this year, unlike others, we don't have to just force it to the draft because the team isn't playing well. Now you get 2 excited things to be excited about.
Yeah, and you're not going to have the same caliber of prospect at number 17 as you have had over the past few years. Obviously, you're not going to get an Adley Rutschman, who is a slam dunk number 1 overall pick in 2019. You're not in the position to draft, Dylan Cruz, who is probably this year's Adley Rutschman. You're not in the position to draft Jackson Holliday, who wasn't necessarily the slam dunk pick in last year's draft, but he was.
But you couldn't miss in that draft.
No, you really couldn't miss. There were a bunch of top high school prospects. There were a bunch of options that the Orioles could go. Jackson Holliday, obviously a very good number 1 overall pick. He has been excellent so far, but the Orioles have been excellent in the draft past their first pick. We know that they have hit on those picks like Adley Rutschman. Heston Kjerstad has been looking tremendous. He just won Player of the Week down in Norfolk. Jackson Holliday has obviously been great. Colton Cowser is mashing in AAA Norfolk. But the guys that they have drafted after their first pick over the last few years have also been awesome. The names off the top of my head, got Gunnar Henderson, of course, in 2019, comes from the same draft class as Adley Rutschman. He isn't drafted until number 42 in 2019, ends up becoming the number 1 prospect in all of baseball. Obviously a huge contributor for the Orioles right now. Joey Ortiz in 2019 as well. He went 108th. Jordan Westberg went 30th. Kobe Mayo 103rd. Connor Norby 41st.
Yeah.
So the Orioles have shown that they are able to find talented guys outside of those top 5 picks.
Yeah. Like you said, Ortiz especially, to me, being a 4th-round guy and having that much talent, already being a major leaguer, kind of shows me that there's really no reason to worry about this draft. Because obviously in baseball, unlike any other sport, it's not going to be a surefire thing that the guy's going to be good. But when you have this kind of track record, even in such little time, since 2019, I think you should be pretty confident what Mike Elias and company can do in terms of the draft and whatnot. And you mentioned Norby and Wagner and all those other guys. So much talent that they've gotten in those later picks in the 2nd round, the 3rd round, the 4th round, that, again, you have so much potential MLB talent and guys who have already made the majors and made their debuts.
And having the top 5 pick over the last few years has obviously been nice because, as you said, you can get a blue chip prospect, but the Orioles have been able to find so many talented players later in the draft that I don't want to say it doesn't matter that they don't have a top 5 pick. Yeah. It still matters.
It does, but again, and Elias, didn't he say last year he didn't even want the number 1 pick?
Yeah, he jokingly was like, I don't really like the number 1 pick. Like, it's the hardest position to be in because, let's say you have 2 guys on your big board that you would be really, really happy with and you were drafting 2nd overall. The decision is kind of made for you. Yeah. If somebody goes first and then you can just take the guy that falls to 2. Number 1, you have to get right.
Yes.
And Mike Elias and Sig Mejdal have. They have been a part of some great drafts dating back to Houston. They took Carlos Correa, number 1 overall. They've been solid at the top of the draft, but they still don't need one of those top 5 picks.
Yeah. It's almost like we're getting to watch a great athlete just get in their bag.
Yeah.
Because you're watching
This is Mike Elias's bag.
This is his bag, dude. That's what I'm saying. Like, he's able to just, really, he's going to cook. and I cannot wait for it. I'm actually so excited to see what they do with this pick because, like we're going to talk about, there's a lot of different ways that they can go. I think this is a pretty talented draft class and one that Michael Elias is going to have plenty of options in terms of where they want to go because, one, they've already covered so much ground within the farm system. It's not like there's one glaring thing. They could use a pitcher, but it's not like one glaring thing.
Right.
Like, oh, they need a third baseman or they need an outfielder. They have plenty of talent within the farm system, so they could really go anywhere. And I'm kind of thinking that this draft could be one where they go after like a potential boom or bust guy. Like, take a flyer on a guy who could be incredible, but there's also a chance he fizzles out because you have so much talent.